I think of us as still in this sort of reaccumulation phase of the market. You get the bottom of the bear. You do this sort of first upwards to confirm you're out of the bear market, and then it sort of chops around sideways um, as people reaccumulate coins, and then eventually it's full blown bull market. We're still in reaccumulation phase. That's without a doubt. Um, and in that phase is anything can happen. It can chop around wildly. It break all-time highs. Went from 70 now to almost 100 in no time flat. Uh, Consolidating underneath that by the looks. But sure, it can go past 100,000. We have our party, and then the whole thing could come back down to 70.
Popular Bitcoin on-chain analyst Willy Woo has shared his thoughts on the current state of the Bitcoin market and what he believes lies ahead for the leading cryptocurrency in 2025. During a recent interview with Unchained, the first interview Woo has granted in over 3 years, the renowned analyst maintained that despite recent price movements that have taken Bitcoin to multiple all-time highs, we are still in the accumulation phase of the bull market with so much more to come in 2025. A few weeks ago, Woo predicted that the next major target for Bitcoin was the $102,000 level. Woo derived his target from a macro Fibonacci analysis, using the previous cycle's high and the current cycle's low to identify the next resistance level. Woo suggested that after Bitcoin stabilizes around the $88,000 to $91,000 range, its next leg market would likely take it to $102,000 per coin. However, Woo highlighted the likelihood of significant price volatility during this consolidation phase. He anticipates wild swings as Bitcoin seeks to establish a new baseline before advancing toward the $102,000 milestone. According to Woo, the critical factor in reaching this target will be monitoring the formation of new liquidation clusters as the market evolves. These clusters will provide insights into market sentiment and the levels at which traders are most vulnerable, shaping Bitcoin's next major move. During his interview with Unchained, Woo gives a more detailed analysis of the current state of the Bitcoin market and what to expect in 2025. As we bring you clips from the discussion, please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks for the support and enjoy the video.
What are your thoughts on the current state of the Bitcoin market?
Oh, that's a broad one. It's quite every cycle. If there's one thing you can trust is the changes, and so that hasn't changed. That I'm like looking at, what has changed with this market. Obviously, we had in the last cycle, MicroStrategy coming in with corporate treasuries. Futures was a big part of the last cycle, and institutional hedge funds coming in. And so I think this cycle, just looking at the impacts of I think the key impacts right now, MicroStrategy going on full flight on their Bitcoin acquisition, and then the BlackRock, in particular spot ETF, but the whole broad collection of spot ETFs coming in and offering a very efficient way for TradFi to buy in. And so that's really changing the structure of the market. So looking at that type of impact, and you can see also, I'm looking at just how heavily hit the altcoin space has been with so much capital coming into Bitcoin, not necessarily rotating into altcoins, and just how absent retail has been in this cycle. I mean, it looks like they're just starting to come in the last 4 or so weeks, but it's been a ghost town. So yeah, just very interesting to see how much of each, the structure of each cycle is changing, and probably the hidden side is I'm kind of trying to figure out if more of the sovereigns will come in, and maybe they are coming in, but quietly. This stuff is out there, and it is starting to roll out. And the interesting thing in this cycle is that the credibility of Bitcoin is post BlackRock is skyrocketing, and so we're starting to see banks come in and offer financing on your Bitcoin, mortgage your Bitcoin, get some cash. Your Bitcoin's climbing at 20 to 80% annualized. Your interest rate might be 6% if you're tapping into TradeFi loans. Um, and so you get into an interesting situation where, even these yield products now, because they are actually shares and hedge funds, I believe by the next cycle will be acknowledged by banks as collateral, just like you can front your MicroStrategy shares or your Apple shares at a brokerage and borrow US dollars. I think both the Bitcoins and shares in these types of funds can be a way of getting a Bitcoin mortgage. So it's like the best bet on the planet, and even today, we've still got at least a 10x, 20x to go. And the chances of it winning are, I think well north of 90%. So it's just a ridiculous investment proposition. And I agree, it's just really quite different to see it all happening. To see these guys like Larry Fink talk about Bitcoin as the future. I came back from Switzerland just last month and I posted, the chief investment officer of a boutique private bank. I go there every year because we're partnered with this bank. And last year we think Bitcoin is a really great investment. And here are the reasons why. 1 year later, the chief investment officer of this bank says, we think it's got the right properties right now to be the next global reserve currency. It's quite a radical statement for a bank.
It's not just banking executives talking about and taking a better look at Bitcoin after over a decade of continuous demonization of the entire cryptocurrency market. As Bitwise CIO Matt Hoogan points out in a recent tweet, we've gotten to the point where even Barron's is shilling Bitcoin ETF option strategies. The article titled, Bitcoin Could Keep Surging in Trump 2.0. Here's the smart way to play it. Details how investors can make the best of the opportunity the cryptocurrency industry presents using Bitcoin ETF options. Here are some excerpts from the article. When Donald Trump returns to the White House in January, Bitcoin is expected to be a key beneficiary. Many investors have eschewed Bitcoin, but that merits reconsideration, especially following the launch of Bitcoin options. Since the ETF's options listing, Bitcoin has traded to record prices. The ETF's options trading patterns are bullish, which suggests that investors expect it to keep rallying higher. The article then suggests a risk reversal approach using Bitcoin ETF options, which it says offers a better percentage return than buying Bitcoin. With IBIT around $54.47, the article reads, aggressive investors can consider selling the March $53 put and buying the March $60 call for about $5.80. This risk reversal strategy, selling a put and buying a call with the same expiration but a higher strike, lets investors buy low and profit from a rally. If the ETF rallies to $80, the call is worth $27. The article further details that this strategy could offer a higher return than buying Bitcoin and requires less money. The rationale behind the first part of the argument is that the option strategy could give a percentage return of about 46% if the ETF rises to a record high of $80, and Bitcoin would need to rise to about $140,000 to make the same return. Fortunately, experts like Woo believe Bitcoin will go even higher before the cycle ends in 2025. Here are more clips from the interview.
Where do you think we're at in the current cycle? Yeah, is it still just getting started? Are we potentially going to hit gold parity maybe even next year, or is it already in the later innings? How would you frame it?
I'd be surprised if we hit gold parity this cycle. But who knows? I know my friend Samson Mao thinks definitely 1 million this cycle. And of course, he's going around the world convincing nation states to buy this as a strategic reserve. And so maybe he sees something I don't. I haven't actually talked to him on the details of that. Structurally where we are, we haven't broken all-time highs. Sorry, we have, but we haven't broken the key 100,000. We broke the all-time high, but we didn't actually. I think of us as still in the sort of reaccumulation phase of the market. You kind of get the bottom of the bear. You do this sort of first upwards to confirm you're out of the bear market, and then it sort of chops around sideways. um, as people reaccumulate coins, and then eventually it's full-blown bull market, and then you get the top and the first of the bear, right? These are the phases I think of. We're still in reaccumulation phase. That's without a doubt. And in that phase is anything can happen. It can chop around wildly. We break all-time highs. Went from 70 now to almost 100 in no time flat. Consolidating underneath that by the looks. But sure, it can go past 100,000. We have our party, and then the whole thing could come back down to 70. All sorts of things can happen in the zone. Remember last cycle, it was like, whoa, we got past 10,000. Everyone's feeling bullish. And then COVID hit, and we dropped down to 4 very quickly. Came back to 10. Spent a lot of time at 10 before it sort of coiled up enough to really make its run. So the question is, what happens when we really make our run, and when will that be? And it's certainly not right now. It's still, like, in my opinion, relatively safe to buy in this phase of the market and reaccumulation because it hasn't made its run. And I have a risk signal that we use internally for our hedge fund, but it's really measuring how much capital is flowing into the network, and then it's estimating liquidity conditions of the market. And the thing is, the risk, it needed the risk on that, right? So the risk of drawing down, and usually the signal starts to go to it's either a 0 to 1 signal. It's usually 0 or 1, and it transitions very quickly. It's still at 0, and it's been 0 pretty much the entire cycle. That's why I knew that we would break our all-time high without a doubt. But once it goes to 1, you got a few months before the thing tops, and we haven't even gone to 1 yet. So still, I think we're still warming up. And of course, as everyone who's been following this knows, it's likely going to be in the tail end of next year before we get that full-blown bull cycle. I expect the risks to then start to climb as everyone goes DGN and everything starts to explode. But for now, it's still reaccumulation. Maybe we get past 100 before Christmas, but who knows? We're consolidating by the looks right now.
In related news, Bitcoin finally crossed the $100,000 range for the first time on Thursday, swiftly moving past $103,500, its latest all-time high. With the move above $100,000, Bitcoin's market cap is now over $2 trillion. According to a recent tweet from President Nayib Bukele, El Salvador's Bitcoin stash is also above $300 million in profit, a major suck-it to the International Monetary Fund, which repeatedly insisted the Central American country sell off its Bitcoin stash and abandon the leading cryptocurrency as a legal tender. BlackRock's IBIT has made history yet again, becoming the fastest ETF to hit $50 billion in assets. Here is a tweet from Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Balchunas. IBIT is now over $50 billion. It took 228 days to reach this milestone. The next fastest ETF to reach 50 billion was IEFA in 1,329 days. So, it is over 5 times faster than any ETF ever launched. Ridiculous. By all indications, Bitcoin's price is slated to rise even higher in 2025. Experts like Real Vision founder Raoul Pal and Bitcoin billionaire Tim Draper estimate that Bitcoin will hit at least $250,000 before the cycle ends in late 2025. Draper believes Bitcoin's price will keep skyrocketing in the future and will someday be worth millions of dollars per coin. During a recent interview, the American billionaire investor said, "Bitcoin is going to be the currency of the future. I don't know if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or when it's going to be. But there will be a moment in time when you can buy your food, your clothing, your shelter, all in Bitcoin and pay your taxes in Bitcoin. Do you envision a time when this will be possible? Please drop your replies and comments on Willy Woo's interview in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.